Hi everyone. So I was born on October 31st, 1992, Halloween, and these are some of the major events that have taken place throughout the years on my birthday. So starting off in 1926, this is when the famous magician Harry Houdini died. He was actually in Detroit, and he had just recently had his appendix taken out. Um, and so he his great claim was that he could endure any punch to his abdomen, any force of trauma to his abdomen, as long as he was ready for what was coming. He would be able to sustain the blow. Um, so there were two college students that went to his room after a show, and they did not know that he had just had surgery and asked if they could test out his theory. When doing so, they did not wait for him to become ready, that to brace himself, as he always said. And so instead, the student punched him 4 times very hard in the abdomen. This was 4 days before October 31st. And his appendix, the site where his appendix had been taken out, ruptured, and he refused to go to the hospital. His temperature steadily rose to 102 the next day, and then 105 by the end of the following night after his show. He had to leave his show early because of the pain he was in. Still refused to go to the hospital. By the time that he did go to the hospital the next morning, he was in such bad shape that there was nothing that the doctors could really do. And once again, this was in 1926, so modern medicine wasn't really a thing then. He passed away on October 31st, 1926. In 1994, there was a Chicago bound American Eagle ATR 72 plane that crashed in northern Indiana that killed all 68 people aboard. Um, there was nothing like extra special about this crash except for the fact that every year when family members would take flowers to the gravesite where their sisters and brothers had passed away, they began to find body parts, bone, and it still had like muscle and connective tissue attached to it. So the problem that arose from this was that family members started to become very upset because the cleanup from this crash really didn't happen. Um, so they felt that they were treated unfairly, that their loved ones who had died were being treated fairly. Um, and so there was a lot of, they sued the airlines, there was a lot going on. The crash happened on October 31st, 1994. One of the final things that happened, one of the really big things that happened on October 31st was in 1997. This was when the three main people in the Madrid train bombings were convicted. Um, if you don't know about the train bombings, they set off within the train. There were 10 bombs throughout the city of Madrid, which is a very busy, very active train station, and so they had these 10 bombs set up throughout, going off at different times. They had the remote controls for them. Well, these three men were not the ringleaders. They still they still were the ones to plant the bombs. They were the ones that were behind everything, and so they were convicted um, of mass murder, amongst other charges. There were also four other top suspects that were convicted the same day. Um, they had lesser charges. They weren't charged to the full extent, which made people very unhappy. But the worst part of it all was that the ringleader of the entire group, the one whose idea it was to plant the bombs, the one who had the most to lose, got off scot-free on that day. He did not have to do time for any of the people that he killed. In total, it was 191 people who died in the attacks. Um, we don't really know why he was acquitted, whether he um, gave up everyone else or what the point was, but we just know that he was set free. So, Halloween is a very special day to me, obviously, and it was really interesting learning about um, Harry Houdini dying. I thought that was really cool because he was a magician, and it just seems like Halloween is kind of like a magician's day. So I thought that was really interesting, and also that he died in Detroit. So thanks for listening. Bye.